The NYSC orientation camp builds with activity as fresh corps members streamed in, dragging travel bags and wearing a mix of excitement and apprehension on their faces. The camp was a sprawling compound with rows of hostels, a parade ground, and the ever-busy Mami market that promised a break from the regimented life inside. Some came in casual outfits, others in more formal attire, eager to make their mark. A few flaunted their wedding and engagement rings proudly, while others discreetly removed theirs and tucked them into their bags to blend in, avoiding the marriage tag that could draw unwanted attention. It was as if the camp fate symbolized a world where the marital commitments were temporarily suspended. Among them was Nkem, a stunning woman whose beauty drew admiring stares from fellow corps members and officials alike. She was married, her ring glinting proudly under the sunlight as she settled into her assigned hostel. Unlike some others who seemed wary of the experience, Nkem appeared thrilled, ready to embrace every moment. Her husband Emeka has supported her decision to attend the camp. "It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity," he had said. "I trust you to represent our family well." Little did he know how quickly trust could be shattered. The first week of the camp was a whirlwind of activities. Corps members were assigned to hostels, issued their NYSC uniforms, and subjected to an endless stream of orientations, drills, and lectures. The mornings began with the shrill blast of the bugle, pulling everyone from their beds for morning drills at 5 o'clock a.m. Nkem's beauty, combined with her confident demeanor, attracted attention wherever she went. Male corps members competed for her attention, and even some camp officials couldn't hide their admiration. One evening, during a group social activity, Nkem met Amaka, a married corps member who seemed different from the others. Amaka was composed and mature, her actions reflecting her marital commitment. "Nkem," Amaka said during a quiet moment, "you have a presence that's hard to ignore. Just be careful. Camp life can be distracting." Nkem laughed lightly. "Thanks, Amaka. Don't worry about me. I'm here to enjoy myself and nothing more." But Amaka's words stirred something in her. For a fleeting moment, she wondered if she was giving off the wrong impression. By the second week, Nkem had developed a routine. While most corps members lined up for the meals provided by the camp kitchen, Nkem refused to eat them, calling the food low budget. "You are not eating this," one of her male admirers asked, holding out a food flask. "No, thank you," Nkem said with a wave of her hand. "I can't eat this. Let's go to the Mami market." At the market, she ordered a plate of fried rice, grilled chicken, and eggs, all paid for by the men who followed her around like moths to a flame. It started innocently enough, just food and laughter, but soon the men began testing boundaries. "You're too beautiful to be married," one said as they sat in a corner of the market. Another reached out to brush a stray hair from her face. "You must be every man's dream." Nkem laughed off their comments, ignoring the alarm bells ringing faintly in her mind. Amaka noticed Nkem's growing closeness to the male corps members and decided to intervene. "Nkem, I need to talk to you," Amaka began. "I know it's none of my business, but as a fellow married woman, I feel I have to say something." Nkem frowned. "Amaka, they are just friends. People will always talk. I'm not doing anything wrong," Amaka sighed. "It's not just about what you're doing, Nkem. It's about how it looks. Be careful. Nkem nodded but dismissed the advice as unnecessary. She wasn't doing anything inappropriate. She told herself she was just enjoying the moment. By the third week, the whispers about Nkem had grown louder. Core members gossiped about how she never ate the camp food, relying instead on the men who flocked around her. Some claimed to have seen her sharing private moments with them at the market. One night, as Nkem walked back to her hostel with a male core member, a group of female core members exchanged knowing looks. "Married, but look at her," one said, shaking her head. "She's going to get herself into trouble," another added. Nkem noticed the stares, but shrugged them off. She didn't owe anyone an explanation. But trouble was brewing. The male core members who had initially admired her began to push boundaries. Their compliments grew more suggestive, and their accidental touches became deliberate. Nkem found herself in increasingly uncomfortable situation, yet she couldn't seem to pull away. And then came the incident near the parade ground, a moment that left little doubt in the minds of those who saw it. Though she and the male core members involved insisted it was innocent, the story spread like wildfire. Nkem's carefree attitude was starting to catch up with her, and the consequences loomed closer with every passing day. The sun hung low in the sky as Nkem sat at the Mami market, sipping a chilled drink. Two male core members sat across from her, their flirtatious smiles making it clear they enjoyed her company. She laughed at their jokes, brushing off their suggestive remarks as harmless fun. Amaka approached her table with a serious expression. She waited until the men excused themselves before taking a seat. "Nkem," Amaka began firmly, "this is getting out of hand. People are talking about you. I heard some of the camp officials even know about the way those men hover around you. As your friend, I'm begging you, be careful." Nkem waved her off, annoyed. "Amaka, why do you keep bringing this up? I'm not doing anything wrong. They're just friends." Amaka leaned closer. "It's not about what you think you're doing. It's about how it's perceived. You're married, Nkem. You need to set boundaries." Nkem rolled her eyes. "Thanks for the advice, but I've got this under control." Amaka sighed, realizing her words were falling on deaf ears. She left, but the uneasy look on her face lingered in Nkem's mind longer than she cared to admit. By the fourth week, Nkem's reputation among her peers had taken a hit. Her beauty and charisma, which once charmed everyone, now fueled whispers of scandal. She continued to frequent the Mami market with her male admirers, ignoring the raised eyebrows and pointed stares. One evening, as she walked to the market with one of her regular companions, he leaned in close. "You know, Nkem, you are the most beautiful woman in this camp. I can't believe you're married." She laughed nervously. "And what does that mean?" "It means your husband is the lucky man," he said, his hand brushing against hers. The gesture made her uncomfortable, but instead of pulling away, she allowed it, convincing herself it was harmless. As they sat in a corner of the market, another male core member joined them. Bringing her favorite meal, he placed a hand on her shoulder as he spoke, and Nkem didn't move away. It was as if the boundary lines had blurred, and she couldn't tell where harmless friendship ended and inappropriate behavior began. One evening, after a group activity, Nkem and a male core member were seen behind the female hostel. They were standing close, their conversation animated. When another core member stumbled upon them, The look on their face said it all. "Nkem," she said sharply, "what are you doing here?" Nkem stepped back, flustered. "It's not what it looks like. We were just talking." The male corps member quickly made his exit, leaving Nkem alone to face the accusing stare of her fellow corps member. "Nkem, you're a married woman," the young woman said. "You need to be careful. People are talking and this doesn't look good." Nkem nodded but said nothing. She walked back to her hostel, her heart pounding. Despite the warning and growing rumors, Nkem couldn't seem to stop herself. The attention was intoxicating, and she thrived on it, but her actions were starting to catch up with her. One afternoon, during a break from drills, a group of corps members spotted her in a secluded area near the camp market with yet another male companion. This time, their proximity left little to the imagination. "Unbelievable," one of the onlookers whispered. "She's married, isn't she?" another said. The group walked away, shaking their heads. Word spread quickly, and by evening, Nkem was the subject of every gossip circle in the camp. Amaka, frustrated and disappointed, confronted her once again. "Nkem, you're destroying your reputation," she said bluntly. "Do you think people won't find out? Do you think your husband won't hear about this?" Nkem shrugged. "People will always talk. It doesn't mean they know the truth." Amaka shook her head. "You are playing with fire." The climax came during a quiet evening when Nkem and a male corps member were caught in a compromising position behind the camp's church. A group of corps members who had grown tired of her behavior stumbled upon them and immediately pulled out their phones to record the scene. Nkem tried to explain, but the damage was done. The group didn't confront her directly. Instead, they sent the video to her husband through his Facebook account. Unaware of the brewing storm, Nkem continued her camp activities as if nothing had happened. She even joked with her admirers, oblivious to the fact that her world was about to collapse. Her husband Emeka received the video late that night. He watched in stunned silence, his heart breaking with every passing second. The woman he had trusted, the woman he had supported, had betrayed him in the most humiliating way possible. The storm was coming, and Nkem was entirely unprepared for the consequences of her actions. The last days of the camp began with unusual routines: drills, lectures, and preparations for the passing out parade. Nkem walked around the camp with her signature confidence, blissfully unaware of the chaos brewing back home. Emeka, her husband, had spent days replaying the video sent to him. Anger, humiliation, and heartbreak consumed him. He called Nkem's parents, summoning them to an urgent family meeting the day she returned from camp. His voice was cold and resolute when he spoke. "She has disgraced me, disgraced our family and herself," he told her father. "I can't stay in this marriage. I will make my position clear when she comes home." Meanwhile, Nkem's parents, mortified by the video, struggled to comprehend how their well-raised daughter could bring such shame upon herself and their family. On a final night at camp, Amaka approached Nkem one last time. "Nkem," she said, her voice filled with sadness, "you may not realize it now, but the choices you've made here will follow you outside this camp. Be prepared to face the consequences." Nkem smirked. "Amaka, why do you keep acting like my mother? I'm fine. Nothing is going to happen." Amaka shook her head. "I've tried to warn you, but you refuse to listen. I pray you will be strong enough to handle what's coming." Nkem brushed her off, more focused on enjoying her final moments at the camp. She laughed and joked with her male companions, confident that her actions were hers to control. Nkem returned home from camp with excitement, eager to share stories of her adventures with Emeka. She didn't notice the coldness in his voice during their brief phone conversations or the lack of warmth in his welcome when he picked her up from the bus park. When they arrived at her parents' house, she was surprised to see her family gathered in the living room. The tension was palpable and the expression on their faces were somber. "What's going on?" Nkem asked, confused. Emeka stepped forward, holding his phone. Without saying a word, he played the video for everyone to see. Nkem's heart sank. The room fell into an uneasy silence. Broken only by the sound of the video, her parents looked at her. Their faces ached with disappointment and shame. "Nkem," Emeka said coldly, "is this how you chose to honor our marriage?" I can explain," she stammered, tears streaming down her face. "There's nothing to explain," Emeka snapped. "You've made your choices. Now I'm making mine. This marriage is over." Nkem's father sat in stone silence, his face buried in his hands. Her mother shook her head, unable to meet her daughter's eyes. "How could you, Nkem?" her mother finally said, her voice trembling. "How could you throw away everything we taught you? How could you betray your husband like this?" Nkem fell to her knees, sobbing. "I didn't mean for things to happen this way. Please forgive me." Her father spoke, his voice heavy with disappointment. "Forgiveness is not the issue, Nkem. Your actions have brought shame upon this family, and your husband has every right to walk away." Emeka rose to his feet. "I've said my piece. I'm leaving. Don't expect me to change my mind." He turned and walked out, leaving Nkem crumpled on the floor, her sobs echoing through the room. The days that followed were some of the darkest of Nkem's life. Her husband refused to return her calls or messages. Her parents advised her, their disappointment evident in their every word and action. Meanwhile, the core members she had associated with at the camp had moved on. The male core members who once admired her now spoke of her as a cautionary tale. The gossip spread quickly and Nkem became a source of ridicule among her peers. Her once vibrant confidence was replaced with deep regret and self-loathing. She couldn't escape the consequences of her actions, and the weight of her choices crushed her spirit. In a quiet moment, Nkem reflected on everything she had lost: a loving husband, the respect of her family, and her dignity. She realized too late that the fleeting thrill of attention and indulgence had cost her everything that truly mattered. Nkem spent her days in solitude, confined to her parents' home. The once bubbly, self-assured woman now felt like a shadow of herself. She replayed the events of the past few weeks in her mind, questioning how she had allowed herself to sink so low. The whispers in the neighborhood grew louder. People speculated about her marriage, the viral video, and the shame she had brought upon her family. Her parents, unable to face the humiliation, avoided attending community gatherings, choosing instead to stay at home. Nkem's mother tried to reach out to her one evening. "Nkem," she began softly, "I know you're hurting, but you brought this on yourself. You need to take responsibility and learn from this. Life isn't over, but you must change." Nkem nodded tearfully, but the guilt weighed heavily on her. Meanwhile, Emeka channeled his pain into a personal mission. He began advising other men whose wives were prospective core members, urging them not to let their spouses stay in the camp. "There is no need," he would say. "The camp doesn't guarantee discipline or respect for marriage. It's better to be safe than regretful." Men listened to his advice. Some commended him for his bravery in speaking out, while others saw it as a cautionary tale. But for Emeka, it wasn't just about warning others. It was his way of healing. Speaking out gave him a sense of control over a situation that had once left him feeling powerless. Nkem couldn't bear the silence anymore. She decided to write a heartfelt letter to Emeka, pouring out her regrets and begging for another chance. Dear Emeka, I know I've failed you in the worst possible way. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want you to know how deeply sorry I am for the pain I've caused you. I lost my way, and I let my selfishness destroy everything we built. If there is even the smallest chance for us to rebuild, I promise to dedicate myself to earning back your trust. If not, I will understand. Just know that I will carry these regrets for the rest of my life. Yours always, Nkem. She sent the letter through a mutual friend, hoping it would reach him. Days turned into weeks, but there was no response. The silence from Emeka solidified Nkem's realization that she had lost him for good. Her family encouraged her to focus on rebuilding her life, but the burden of shame made it difficult. She decided to visit her local church, seeking solace and guidance. The pastor welcomed her warmly, offering words of encouragement. We all fall short at some point in life, Nkem, he said. What matters is how we rise again. This isn't the end of your story. It's a lesson, a painful one, but a lesson nonetheless. Nkem started attending counseling sessions organized by the church. Slowly, she began to see glimmer of hope, even as the weight of her actions lingered. Months turned into a year. Nkem gradually rebuilt her life. Though the scars of her actions remained, she became an advocate for married corps members, sharing her story at NYSC seminars and community gatherings. I am not proud of what I did, she would say, her voice trembling, but I hope my story serves as a warning to others. Marriage is sacred, and no experience is worth jeopardizing what you've built with your spouse. Her words resonated with many. Some couples chose to skip the orientation camp altogether, while others committed to maintaining strong boundaries during the program. Though Emeka had moved on and started a new chapter of his life, Nken's journey of self-awareness and redemption gave her a new purpose. She lived with the knowledge of her mistakes, using them as a tool to help others avoid the same pitfalls. And so, her story became not just a cautionary tale, but also a testament to the possibility of redemption and the importance of making choices that honor one's commitments no matter the circumstance.